Good evening, everybody. Very warm welcome to Birmingham Moseley and the questions and answers with our Director of Rugby, Adam here. I'll throw it out to the floor for the first question. Who's got one for Adam? Okay. Craig?
Go on, I'll start off with Ashley's departure. Sad to see him go, obviously. But good for Ashley by all accounts. What's the options? Are we looking for another player coach? Are we going to use that budget for another player? Struggle on as we are and pick it up amongst ourselves. What's the ideal? What's the thinking?
Look, I think Ashley going was always going to happen at some point. In my mind, it's probably 9 months ahead of schedule. But you're absolutely right. Ashley came to us. He's been such a humble, engaging man who's been all action for Birmingham Moseley, and we could never ask any more from him, both as a player and as a coach. And when I sat with him and we went through it and we discussed, what the options were, there was no option really. It was like, you got to go. It's right for you and your family, and you go with our blessing, and the door will always be open for you. I'm not going to rush into replacing him. I think we can handle it for now internally. I was head coach at Cinderford. I choose not to coach. That's my choice, but I'm a capable coach. And Rob Fuller coming in as a club transition coach with the senior leadership group that we've currently got. The hard work that's already been put in place. We'll get through this first block. We'll manage it and see where we go. And I'll review it when we have that week off in October. And if I feel that we need another pair of hands, then I'll put I'll quietly go out and recruit somebody. But I'm not going to panic. The squad's in a great place. Ashley's certainly put so much hard work in, as have all the other coach and staff. And, we're looking forward to the next 2 weeks until his departure, and then we'll turn our attentions to the season. And like I said, we've got faith in our coaching setup, and the lads are ready to go. Yeah, I'm certainly no backs coach. Yeah, no, I mean, like I said, Glax is head coach. He oversees the whole coaching program. Rob Fuller coming in, his expertise is set piece and breakdown. And I can lend my experience around defence and other elements of the game, which I'm pretty sure I can add value to. But like I said, I'm here to support, not to get in the way, and that's the most important thing. It's not broke. We're certainly not going to fix it. We don't need to panic.
Thanks, Adam. Anyone else? Got a question?
That's it. That was the only question anybody wanted to answer. We're good.
Bruce.
Obviously, with the weather, training has been a bit disrupted, and we lost the game on Saturday. How much has that set us back?
Actually, Bruce, it hasn't set us back at all. I mean, so when we looked at pre-season, normally, historically, when we do pre-season training, we come in Tuesday, Thursday. So we normally start middle of June. We'll train Tuesday, Thursday, which is twice a week. Lads have the weekend off. Because of COVID and the impact it had and the length of season that the lads faced, and also the management, we decided to come in for 1 month, which was July. And we asked the lads if they'd buy into it, and they would. And we decided to train Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. So all of a sudden, you've got 3 contacts per week as opposed to 2. That actual contact with the players and the detail that they're getting over that 3-session period within a week pays dividends, especially as the pre-season goes on. We had a week off prior to Cinderford. When we have a week off, we always make sure we train on the Monday night. So effectively, we still did 3 sessions that week. The Thursday night session was due to be short and sharp. But due to Cinderford not actually going ahead, we decided to extend the session. We had to drop in there an element of contact, which the lads were really up for. And, I think everyone appreciated the weekend off. There was a lot of tired bodies. The contact element, for those of you who were at the club on Thursday, you may have saw it. It was pretty full on. The lads certainly held nothing back. And, I think we're in a very good place going into Coventry this weekend. Coventry obviously had a good, they narrowly lost to Merthyr at home. They've got a brand new squad in terms of what that looks like. And, I think quietly we can go down there, be very competitive, but more importantly, translate what we've done in pre-season into that game. And if we can do that, we'll come off feeling happy.
Thanks, Adam. Chris Bertrand. Thank you, Chris.
How are we doing with the players who are coming back from injury, like Will Safe and Morgan Dawes and anybody else?
Yeah, so the lads coming back from injury, they're doing quite well. So firstly, Ollie Allsop, unfortunately, rolled his ankle first session of pre-season. But, Ollie's making great strides. He's probably like 3 or 4 weeks away before we back out on the field in a position to actually play, which is great news for us. Jacob Futrell and Will Safe, they're making very good progress. Jacob has actually accelerated quite quickly with his shoulder, which is great for him because he suffered what was a very extensive injury for such a young lad. Safe is making good progress with his running. He's back running. You probably see him on a Tuesday and Thursday night doing lengths of the pitch. Morgan Dawes, that's Dawsey. He's very robust. I mean, he's had 2 knees operated on, and he's bouncing around the place full of life, which is fantastic to see. But Morgan will be, he's going to be probably post-Christmas. And then obviously Kalis. I spoke to Kalis today actually, so it's quite fortuitous. He's back weight bearing with his crutches, which is great for Kalis. So he's making good progress, but obviously that's going to be a long road for him after suffering such a horrific injury up at Darlington. So, we're constantly making sure we touch base with him. But, apart from that, all the lads are in good shape. Brian Roach, unfortunately, had to have just a minor bit of surgery on his back. It was nothing major, but that's put him out of training for 6 weeks, unfortunately. So, apart from that, we've got a fit squad, touchwood, and the boys are in good shape, and they're chomping at the bit for that first game. So, roll on Saturday.
Okay. Thanks, Adam.
So we've kept a very stable squad, Adam, but you've added a few players to it. What do you think those players have brought that gives us additional to what we had last season?
I think the lads coming in, they bring an element of experience, Glenn. A lot of them are seasoned championship players. They're not at the end of their careers by any stretch. A lot of them are late 20s, just turned 30. And they're still very competitive. You probably heard Ollie Steadman's interview. I've been chatting to Ollie for 2 years. Same with Suey Obanu. Been chatting to him for 2 years. So there's been a lot of long conversations going on in the background to try and get these players to the club. And sometimes the timing just has to be right. And to be fair, the timing is right. We've got a great squad. Finn Brown's now come back into the group from Wasps, which is great. Finn had a fantastic run towards the end of last season. And then Creedy coming in and Marshy and Joe Jackson. Like I said, we've just got a good group of lads coming in. I think they're going to add real value to what we've got, but more importantly, they're going to add competition. Most successful environments have competition for places. Iron sharpens iron, and that's what we need on a weekly basis. And let's face it, throughout the season, we know how attritional National One can be. We're going to probably always be 15 to 20% of our squad will be out of action. So we've got real strength and depth. We've got real clarity of positions, and lads are happy and can move around and play in multiple positions, which is great. And the players that we've managed to retain for this coming season, they're that year older playing together. So we're not starting from scratch, and that's why the squad is in a good place, and we just need to get on and play.
Thanks, Adam. Can I ask you a question?
Sure. Yeah, go ahead, Lee.
This is more probably about what you do.
Speak to my wife.
Okay,
Speak to my wife.
nothing. Okay. Question answered.
Yeah.
No, seriously, what are the challenges that you face on a daily, weekly basis with being a National One side compared to maybe what somebody's doing in the Premier League with their finances and stuff?
It's a good question, Lee. So semi-pros, I think I've said it before, it's probably like the most difficult level to operate at because the lads have all got full-time jobs. We're asking them to be really professional. So, Moseley is a great club. We're trying to get promoted. We're trying to get the club back into the Championship, however long that might take. Boys who, could be on the building site all day, or under a car bonnet, or in the office, whatever that might look like. And we ask them to come in to work hard. We also ask them to work hard away from the club. They've got family life to deal with. There's lots of obstacles that you might not always be privy to. So there's a lot of outside influences that you can't control, and that's why this level is such a challenging level. But all credit to the players, all credit to the staff, both on and off the field, and and as fans and volunteers and everybody associated with the club. I think the support that we have here at the club makes this environment such a good environment, an easy environment to be a part of. And that's why 85-90% of the boys have stayed, because they enjoy what they do. They've enjoyed it here, they've enjoyed the experiences, they've enjoyed the engagement with the fans, they love the facilities, they love the club, and hopefully we can, kick on and better our position from last season. So.
Thank you. One player that I don't think anybody's mentioned that's I think he's retired. Is it Liam Munro? Is he?
Liam Munro, yeah. So it's like with anything, isn't it? Like people get into things with best intentions. Liam, I'm not sure if anybody was aware. Him and his wife just had their second child. We all know what that's like. It's full on. I definitely know what that's like. Yeah. But it's very full on for Liam, and he runs his own business, and he was travelling in from like Rugby, so he was commuting a hell of a way, and he was constantly chasing his tail, and it got to the point where he had to weigh up that work-life balance, and unfortunately something had to give, and he decided to call time on his rugby career. We sat and we spoke about it, but again, have to support his decision. Family comes first. We'll always be grateful for everything he did wearing a Birmingham Moseley shirt, but he'll always be welcome back, just like every other player or coach or member of the management team that may have moved on. The door's always open, and people are always firmly welcome back to this club.
Yeah, be good to see him back. Anybody else got a question? Anybody else got a question?
Sorry, not to go back to injuries, but given how common it is, what sort of localised conditioning are you doing to try and prevent that as much as possible?
There's some injuries you can't legislate for. So, what happened to Kalis, that was a freak accident. What happened to Will Safe was a freak accident. By getting the lads fitter, stronger, better conditioned in terms of being able to functionally hold their own body weight and utilise that in a game of rugby, that mitigates some of those injuries that can be avoided. It's a contact sport. It's a gladiatorial sport. That's the arena. We all know the challenges that we face when we played rugby. It hasn't changed over 30 years. So it doesn't get easier year on year. But the lads, and I go back to what we're trying to drive: high performance. There's massive emphasis on what the boys do away from the club in terms of rehab, prehab, stretching, diet, nutrition, getting in the gym to do those extra sessions. A lot of accountability gets put back on the players, and like I said, they're a great group. Can we do more? Of course, but we do an awful lot, and we ask a lot of these lads, and to be fair to them, they do drive really good standards.
Thank you. Okay, I've got one more then. Oh, go on then, Glenn.
More general one. There was a report I was reading just a day or so ago about they were suggesting a transfer list Premiership players. There's a lot of Premiership players who haven't got a club now. A lot of Championship clubs seem to have cut down the size of their squads. Are you finding there's a lot of players looking for clubs to play with, and generally in the market at the moment?
I haven't. No agents really come knocking on the door with that, but it's very sad to see, Glenn. If I'm honest with you, lads give their heart and soul for the game. And you're only as good as your next contract, and it's a very cutthroat industry. And I have to say that the big emphasis on professional sport has to be on player welfare. What lads are encouraged to do outside of the game. It's all too easy just to focus on rugby or to focus on that sport. Yes, if you're a top earner, then fine, but if you're in the middle of the road or in that lower tier of player, you do need a plan B, and you probably need a plan C. And I know Premiership clubs do bits to make sure that's in place, but I think they certainly can do more. And I certainly think the Championship is certainly going down a different avenue. I had a good chat with Coventry yesterday, and Alex Ray was explaining that virtually all of his squad is under the age of 24. So that paints a picture. He's gone for real youth. I'm sure they'll have a good season, but you can see what he's trying to do, keep that squad together maybe for 2, 3, 4 years. All of a sudden, those 23, 24-year-olds become 27, 28. You know, you've got that nucleus of player that we've seen in National One. You know, the top 6 from last year. You know, who've had season squads for 5-6 seasons. Off the back of that, you get continuity, and you know that breeds success. But going back to your question, you know, it's if there is 80 plus players out of contract, then I just hope that the RPA are doing all they can do to help these lads find careers and job opportunities, and try and upskill them and give them that platform to you know, hopefully get a career in, you know, some capacity.
Yeah, I mean, they need the careers, but we've got the potential of losing talent out of the sport, haven't you, as well, which is a generally long-term worrying thing.
Yeah, you know, but again, I guess if you're an owner of a club, you're focused on performance.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's where the governing bodies can really step up and make that difference. And you know, for me, player welfare is massive. Again, I know it's slightly different, but the game at Cinderford, you know, when I met with Paul Morris down at Cinderford Dockham Road, you know, we had a quick look, and the game possibly could have been played, but player welfare, what's the point of risking the players, you know, ahead of the new season? That's for both sides. You know, nobody wants to see a player go and get injured, and you know, and certainly nobody wants to see any player leave a sport they've given their heart and soul to financially worse off. You know, and hopefully, like I said, the RPA, I'm sure they are, but hopefully they're doing all they can do to help these lads.
Thanks, Lynn. Is it too soon yet to sort of have any opinions on who's going to be the forerunners in the league this year, or?
Do you know, Lee, I'm going to keep my opinions to myself this year. I mean it, because I think when you look at the National One, the quality throughout the league, you know, anybody can beat anybody, and you know, I think for us, we just need to take one game at a time, not think too far ahead, and just focus on the opposition that we're playing against. And I'm pretty sure if we can do that and stay intact, keep players fit, get some wins together, then we'll see where we're at. But I've got too much respect for the league teams in this league now. It's such an attritional league, and I think all we can do is make sure our house is in order, both on and off the field. As I said, the lads have come in, they've done a great job. The lads we retained, they're excited to get going again, and you know, with your support and everybody getting behind the boys, I'm pretty sure we'll get off to that start we're looking for.
Right, thanks, Adam. Anybody else? Mac.
We still got some dual registration organisations going on for next season, because you have to be careful. We've got to make sure we're using them as much as they're using us. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword.
It is, Matt, yeah. So Finn Brown's come back from Wasps. So Finn's joining us this week. So he's had some downtime. In fact, he's had downtime due to obviously getting injured towards the end of the season, but he's I see where you go with that, Matt. Yeah, so we're reciprocating the favour. They're taking that. Yeah, okay, I'll get it. Yeah. But yes, we are having dual as players, Matt. Yeah. So.
Anyone want to? Oh yeah.
There you are.
There's a lot of mileage in the Sunday Times, in particular about players getting concussion.
Sorry.
In the Sunday Times, there's a great deal of space used in articles about player concussion. What is your reaction to that?
It's a difficult one, isn't it? Last season we had, I think if you remember, we had 6 concussions in 7 weeks. We had 2 lads have to retire due to concussion. Maybe it was just unfortunate. Maybe it was a coincidence that the boys were coming off the back of COVID, so they had like 18 months of inactivity. So neurally, maybe we just slowed down a bit. I'm not medically qualified to give that type of interpretation. But from a player's perspective, you know, hits are getting bigger. Lads are getting fitter. They're getting bigger. You can see it on a year by year basis. You know, the games, they're 15 athletes. You're always going to get concussions. I guess it's how it's managed. I guess it's how, you know, what interventions are put in place to look after those players. There's lots of, it's a hot topic of conversation, especially the knock-on effects post serious concussions, you know, with the dementia and other unfortunate conditions and diseases that come off the back of it. So I think the big thing is being informed is crucial. Understanding the way to maybe educate people. I think education is massive, you know, especially for parents. I'm a dad of 4, so you know it's very important to be educated about that, and then make that informed decision. And I know the governing bodies are probably still looking at the game itself to see what can they maybe tweak and what can they add in or take out to make certain elements of the game safer. But it is unfortunate. It's a contact sport, and you'll always get concussions. But like I said, it's not eradicating the concussion; it's eradicating the management and how those players then get looked after. I think they're on about introducing 21 days immediate ban if you get concussed at Premiership level, which is something they haven't done. I do think they're looking at that, and if they bring that in to the Premiership and below, that'll be a timely addition. We have to deal with it. We have to operate like that at National 1. I don't see what the difference is in the higher leagues, but I guess that's for them to discuss.
Okay, thank you, Adam. Anyone? One more?
Just keep going. I'm happy.
No? Okay, let's have a round of applause for Adam then, yeah? Oh, hang on. Oh. Okay, Adam's happy to stay. Come on.
Thanks. Based on how the team performed last season, what areas would you like to see an improvement on? Are there any particular areas that you think, without giving away anything to the opposition if they watch the video, that you'd like to see us step up and improve on?
We're going to run a 10-man line-out. No, I just think it's continuity, Glenn. It's just training more together. Your teams need time to become cohesive. We need a bit of luck in key positions, not to use 5 fly halves, for example, in the season, which doesn't help the team. I think keeping the lads fit is massive, and competition for places will keep the lads where they need to be. And I know I could get drawn into tactics and how we play the game, but I'm a firm believer that if you've got competition and lads know that wearing pulling that shirt on could be their last game for a while unless they play well. There's nothing better than that to focus the mind. And there's a different feel within the group this season. It's one of last year. It was like excitement that they were brand new. This year there's an air of confidence. So it's slightly different, and we've certainly seen it in training. And like I said, it'd be great to see that then translated into games.
You said earlier we brought some experience in, championship experience, which is great. Do you think we've now got the players who can play the game in front of them and have got the ability to adapt the game plan to suit? Because sometimes it didn't feel as though we were changing game plan as the game wasn't going our way.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. We've been really clear on how we want to try and play the game. I think this year we've certainly identified how the weather can change, and in those wetter months and windier months, so does the game plan. And I think if you think back to Bishop Stortford away last year, there was a definitive shift in how we started to play. Our try count doubled in the second half of the season compared to that of the first half. So, we were very. I felt that the season, had it kicked on a bit longer, our performances would have got even better. And obviously, we ran out of games. But just for this coming season, we know exactly where we need to be in terms of the parameters that we're trying to work within. But I think the big thing is it's about lads enjoying what they do, being confident and going out there and just basically just leaving it all out there, and that's what we've tried to get out of them in training. They're certainly working really hard, and if we can replicate that in the games, we'll win a lot more than we'll lose.
In terms of squad management, do you prefer to know what your best first 15 is and play them each and every week, or will you be rotating?
I think the way we do it, look, players get selected on performance. Don't just hand out appearances for the sake of it. Lads have to earn that right to play. Some lads will do that through training. We don't run a second team, so some boys will have to train their way into the team. Some lads may be fortunate enough to get a start due to somebody else being injured, but ultimately we'll always go with our strongest side. Yes, there will be some lads who we feel might play in the same position where there's nothing to pick between the two, so there may be a rotation policy in place if performances are at a certain level. In order to get all of what you've kind of just asked, in order to apply that, you have to get the performance first, and you have to build momentum. You have to make sure that as a team we're moving in the right direction. Now, when you get that, that's when you can make subtle changes. If you're not those performances aren't where they need to be, then you're making changes to try and get a reaction out of the team. So it's a different type of stimulus.
Talking about that with rotation and various and competition, well, just don't answer this if you don't want to. Is there much difference in your weekly pay packet if you play or don't play?
Well, the lads all get paid a match fee, and they all get paid the same match fee, because again, it's transparent. So, I guess yes, there would be a discrepancy, but reality is, I'm not here to keep anybody happy. You know, you have to keep yourself happy through competing and through wanting to get that shirt on. You know, if you give too much, then it dilutes the environment you're trying to create. And, you know, like I said, these lads are good competitors. It's interesting actually this evening. So obviously it's a game week, and there's been a noticeable change in the feel within the group. You know, you can feel a bit of a buzz with them, and I think they're just looking forward to getting out there on Saturday. So we'll see where we're at. Anybody else? Oh, very well, thank you. Very, very well, thank you, Matt. Yeah, not too bad. If anybody would like to babysit, please let me know. Anybody else? Any questions?
Sorry, probably not on short-term look, but a bit look into the future. What would you kind of want to see out of the future of players for Moseley, long-term rather than short-term?
I just think keeping the squad together. You know, there's nothing better than a fan base being able to come back season after season and seeing a settled group of players that you can talk to, that they can talk to you, because you can put a name to a face. And you know, I think I've said it all along. You know, whether I'm here or the coach is here or whatever that looks like, when you look back, you want to make sure that this club has been left in a better place than when you first turned up. And for me, that's always at the back of my mind. Can we constantly, every year, just get a little bit better, get a little bit better? And if the journey ends and the club is in the best place possible, and that's all that anybody wants to see. Yep.
Thank you. I think looking through the stats, I think we used 45, 50 players last season. Yeah. Which some players only played once or twice. Yeah. In an ideal scenario, you wouldn't play 45, 50. No. What would that ideal number be, and what is the current first team squad as you see?
So I always think the magic number is 33. I think 33 players of varying ability, but hopefully of an ability that is of a certain level. I think if you can get 31 to 33 players, that's about right. We've currently got that. We've also, as I said, we've got a couple of dual reg lads, so EAPs to come in potentially for Wasps. We've got one with us at the moment, which is fantastic. So yeah, you know, as long as the squad is adding value, so the players that are there are adding value. I mean, last year, you know, we had lads. How can I put it? We were doing a patch-up job at times because at one point I think we had 20 players training. You know, that would give you that paints a picture for you. So hopefully we don't go through that again. I felt we were quite unlucky at times with injuries and unavailabilities and concussions. So hopefully this year we get an element of luck. And I think if you're going to be successful, you do need an element of luck. And if we can get that, then hopefully we'll have a good season. And we won't use 55 players. No problem. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you for your time.